Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And there's been a lot of discussion about legacy titles here lately, and preservation of older games. Unfortunately, PlayStation made it official that they are shutting down the PS3, PSP, and Vita store later this year. While this has brought on a lot of frustration among fans and developers alike. Yes, a big article was posted today where developers voiced their frustrations, and we will go over that later on in the video. Also, Xbox had their own little announcement today regarding legacy titles, though they're actually expanding their backwards compatibility instead. It's quite the contrast, and this is definitely nice to hear. So we'll talk about that as well. First though, we do have some other things to talk about today, and some pretty exciting stuff actually, so make sure to look through each topic, which I do have timestamps for. Let's get right into it though, starting off with Genshin Impact. Now, Genshin Impact was a surprise success story last year. It debuted on the PS4 and mobile devices as a free-to-play game, and on the surface it shares a lot in common with Zelda Breath of the Wild, or at least in terms of visuals. Funny enough, some fans were originally very angry over its art style, and one fan even went so far as to break his PS4 in protest when it was first revealed for the PS4 because they shared a similar art style. A lot of people did view this as a straight-up clone at the time, but since it released, it's kind of carved its own audience. It actually turned out to be a pretty good game, and if you own a PS5, or if you're looking to get one, you might be happy to know that the PS5 release for Genshin Impact is quote-unquote imminent. The PS5 version will include 4K resolution, improved textures, better load times, and other visual upgrades. Now, they're still not giving an exact date for the PS5, but Sony later on confirmed it is planned to release sometime this spring. So this might actually be imminent, as they mentioned before. Any day now we could end up getting an announcement for an official release date. And this is really good to hear. If you've been playing on the PS4, you will be able to transfer your progress to the newer version. Hopefully this will be an easy and smooth transition, but either way, Genshin Impact is heading to its first next generation console very soon. Moving on though, this next topic is incredibly exciting in my opinion. Now, if you don't know, I am a big fan of Alan Wake. I personally think it's one of the best games that released during the PS360 generation, and it was definitely one of the best Xbox 360 console exclusives. It was very much an underrated game, and fans absolutely know it. People have been wanting a sequel for years and years. It's almost hard to believe, but it's been almost 11 years since Alan Wake launched on the Xbox 360. With that said, it looks like the wait is almost over. The reliable VentureBeat journalist Jeff Grubb on his Twitch account claimed that he had heard that Remedy Entertainment has partnered up with Epic Games to make Alan Wake 2. That would be huge if true. Of course, this is just a rumor for now, but there are some things that makes me believe this could be true. What we know for a fact is that Remedy acquired the Alan Wake IP from Microsoft back in 2019. They've also put out some Alan Wake content in their latest game, Control. And last but not least, Remedy signed a contract with Epic Games last March to publish 2 multi-platform games. I mean, we know that Remedy and Epic are working on a couple games together, so this isn't some major surprise that Remedy could be working on Alan Wake with Epic Games. There's been plenty of clues that this could be happening for quite a while now, and this just throws another log on the fire. Remedy has shown interest in the Alan Wake IP, and Epic Games has been looking for exclusive titles on the PC side of things. Yeah, this likely will not be a Steam game if true, but still, Alan Wake returning, yeah, I'm absolutely in for that. This is just great all around. It's good for Remedy as they finally get to go back to Alan Wake, it's good for Epic Games, and most importantly, it's great for gamers. We might finally see what happens next after that big cliffhanger at the end of Alan Wake. With all these rumors though, we just kinda gotta wait for some kind of an official announcement. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Next up, let's talk about PlayStation. They have officially revealed their PlayStation Plus lineup for April, and this is a really good month. I have been praising them a lot for their PlayStation Plus output since the launch of the PS5, and once again they give me another reason to do just that. So let's check out why. In April, you'll get the AAA PlayStation exclusive Days Gone, Zombie Army 4, Dead War, and the big one, Oddworld Soulstorm, which will launch directly into PlayStation Plus day one. This is a game that I've personally been looking forward to for a very long time. I like the Oddworld IP, and since playing New and Tasty, which released way back in 2014, I've been ready to play the remade sequel, and that is finally happening. As an added bonus, fans will get Oddworld Soulstorm for no extra charge if they are a PlayStation Plus subscriber. If you haven't played Oddworld before though, I do recommend it. I would have personally bought this game even if it wasn't in PlayStation Plus, because they really are that good. As the name implies though, it is a little odd and the main character is not your typical hero. It's a lot of fun though with puzzle platforming mechanics, and the stories are good with the little guys facing off against super powerful organizations. It's pretty easy to relate to, and that's one of the many reasons as to why you should try it out if you get the chance. When can you play these games though? That would be on April 6th, so mark your calendars for some PlayStation Plus games. Speaking of PlayStation though, it seems like they may have dropped the ball on closing old PlayStation stores, especially the Vita store. Now, it's one thing to shut down the PS3 and PSP store, but the Vita really isn't all that old. This is something that I've mentioned already in the past, but I mean, it's not even 10 years of age yet, and developers are still making games for that console. Even though the Vita isn't the best-selling console in the world, there is a dedicated fan base for the PlayStation Vita. It's a great console and probably one of the most underrated consoles in my honest opinion. Unfortunately, Sony just never really gave this console the attention that it deserved. That didn't stop third-party developers from working on the Vita, however, so this frustration of closing the Vita store goes beyond just fans. Now, different developers are voicing their frustrations as well. There's a big article about this on thegamer.com, which I will leave a link below and highly recommend you read, but after reading through that, it is so eye-opening on what's going on behind the scenes with PlayStation and developers. It's not a good look for PlayStation at all for a few different reasons. One developer pointed out it was frustrating given how much effort Microsoft has put into preserving its library and seeing great success with that. We'll actually talk a little bit more about that later on in the video. Meanwhile, as we're seeing though, PlayStation is going the opposite direction, and any digital exclusive for the Vita will sadly just disappear outside of piracy. That's just not a great solution. Another developer noted that this is another example of Sony's failings when it comes to online infrastructure, but I think where it gets really messed up is that it majorly impacted a studio by the name of Lilyco Games. They were working on a Vita game that they sadly had to cancel because the Vita store is shutting down, and the founder of that company says he can't quantify how much work this has cost them on that level. Apparently, they even bought a Vita dev kit just 1 month ago with no warning from Sony on what was about to happen. That is very alarming that Sony did not talk to developers ahead of time, considering there were still developers working on Vita-related games. You would have thought that Sony would have given a heads up to developers well in advance. I mean, this does affect developers after all. If anything, don't let studios buy a Vita dev kit. Apparently there were some clues that it would happen eventually, however, and bigger developers had a little bit more of a warning, but this situation is just not a good look for PlayStation. That is how you lose trust with the community and different studios. Since Jim Ryan has taken over PlayStation, there have been some weird things like this pop up from time to time. Last year, one big story was how Jim Ryan and PlayStation believed in generations, leading fans to believe that they would not do cross-generation games for the PS4 and PS5. Ultimately, that didn't turn out to be true at all. Now, I do think they ended up making the right move, however. I do think the PS4 should still be supported for the time being, but Jim Ryan should have been more forthcoming with that whole situation, and the same thing applies here with the Vita store closing down. Just be more transparent about things, and that goes a long way for fans and developers alike. It doesn't mean you have to make decisions that are universally loved or anything like that, but you have to do it the right way. It is what it is, I guess, though. I mean, these stores are shutting down. We can't really do anything about that. We just need to get the games that we want before that happens. I do wish all those devs the best of luck, though. I hate hearing that this is happening, but again, it is what it is. Now, while we're on the topic of legacy games, Xbox made their own little announcement today. Yeah, so Xbox is expanding their backwards compatibility to cloud gaming. Xbox has been a great supporter of backwards compatibility, and they found another way to keep their legacy games alive beyond just consoles. That's right, they have now made 16 of their original Xbox and Xbox 360 games available through the cloud. That means you can play these games on your mobile phone, tablet, or PC as long as you have the connection to run these games properly. And there are some really good games here. You all probably know I do love Rare, and several of their classic games will be playable on your phone now. I am ecstatic about that. Some even have touch controls like Viva Pinata and Jetpack Refueled. Some of the other games included are Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Perfect Dark, Cameo, Fable 2, Gears of War 2 and 3, Fallout New Vegas, Morrowind, Oblivion, among others. Yeah, that's a nice lineup of games. Every single game on that list is absolutely fantastic. I think they will fit on a handheld device perfectly as well. I mean, Viva Pinatas on mobile devices, yeah, I'm in for that. And according to Andy Robinson, Viva Pinatas finally makes it to mobile devices after many rejected pitches of a proper spinoff over the years. That's actually really unfortunate to hear. I would have loved to have seen a spinoff for Viva Pinatas. Luckily though, that's kind of happening now with touch controls included for Viva Pinatas. Maybe if it does well enough, Xbox will go back and maybe do a real spinoff. Either way, I'm gonna have to play through Banjo-Kazooie for like the 10th time, with it now being available on my phone. Hey Xbox, if you're gonna do some work to keep these legacy titles alive, maybe let's try to make some new sequels for the future as well. Please, let's make a new Banjo. I'm not gonna stop asking for this. We absolutely need a new Banjo-Kazooie. Regardless though, I'm happy to see these games be more readily available. I'll be happy to see new fans play these games for the first time, and that's the brilliance of backwards compatibility for not just consoles, but also for mobile devices. It can introduce a whole new generation of gamers. I think these games are still great today, and I'm sure they can find new fans with backwards compatibility. On to the topic of the day though, Cyberpunk 2077 just got a massive update. And when I say massive, I mean it's 40 plus gigabytes. That is a ginormous patch, and once again shows you this game was not quite ready at launch. With them fixing so many issues though, I was curious if you would go back to play it now. A lot of people decided not to play it after its bug-riddled launch, so maybe this patch will tempt fans to play Cyberpunk once again. So I asked you all, and only 13% of you said you will play Cyberpunk with this new patch. It actually appears most of you instead have decided to wait for the next generation version of Cyberpunk, and that I think is a smart decision. I will go on record and say this is a good game outside of its bugs. Now for me, I was lucky and didn't run into any kind of major bugs, but I'm sure CD Projekt Red will continue to fix this game up even more throughout the year, and it will probably look really good on the Xbox Series and PS5. That will likely be the definitive release, and probably worth the wait as they continue to fix it up. I mean, overall, you're just going to get a better game both in terms of gameplay and visuals, so I think the wait will be well worth it for those who want to play it on a next generation console. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.